I believe that this is just an excuse to avoid inner work, to really figure out why you're operating from insecurities and need for validation and fears and wanting to be accepted and seen and all this stuff that most men never face head on. They just say, oh, I'll take this thing and then I solve this problem and I don't have to do this work. Today we're exploring the truth about TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and the fitness industry. And I made this video in response to my first video on why I quit testosterone therapy. If you haven't seen that, there's a link here, and I share my own journey of being on it for 10 years, why I decided to quit and not looking back. And in this video, I want to share some of the lies that I believe lead people to getting on it. And I want to share what I consider my truth. These are my beliefs. So the very first lie is that there's no long-term potential consequences. And that's a flat out lie. There are consequences to injecting a hormone into your body synthetically, even if it's a bioidentical hormone, right? There's impacts on your brain, on your heart, there's impact on your hair, the rate of aging, plus many, many other things. This just hasn't been around for a sufficient amount of time, in my opinion, to say, hey, it's 100% safe. You are exposing yourself to a risk. Now, this is something you should obviously work through with the doctor, but don't head into this thinking that, oh, I'm just gonna maintain a certain level and I'll be fine. I'm just gonna work with the doctor and nothing's gonna happen because he's monitoring me. You don't understand that once you get on this stuff, it opens up the doorways to a whole nother Pandora box. It's, well, maybe I can bump the dose up. Maybe I can take some orals. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do that. So it's not this that's the issue, that's the only risk. It's what it can lead to. The next lie is that this is something that you're okay doing long term. And the truth is that I don't believe anybody wants to be reliant on a needle for the rest of their life. Like, who wants to have to stick something in their butt, have to travel with something, have an extra expense? It's not a convenient lifestyle. It's not normal, if you will. And I believe a lot of people justify that I'm okay doing this for life, but really it's to explore a short-term curiosity. And I get it. I'm not judging. I get it. If you're a bodybuilder or you're training hard and you love the gym and you want to see what's next, I don't blame you. That was me. I'll tell you, you're going to get down the road and wonder, how the hell do I get off this stuff? And maybe you don't even need to go on it in the first place. So don't fool yourself that you're okay being on this stuff for the rest of your life, because that's what everybody else does. Because I'll tell you, you will regret it. Number 3, a lot of people do this sympathy story now around, I got my levels checked and they're pretty low. And I see this from influencers all the time, and I see it. Because I'm a marketer too. Like I can read between the lines, and what they're doing is they're getting the support of their following to say, hey, I'm all stressed out, life is so tough right now, and I'm not feeling great, and so I'm thinking about doing this thing. It's a form of manipulation, and I don't think anyone intends to be manipulative, but that's what they're doing, and it's not sincere, all right? At the end of the day, what they're really doing is image management. Right? Maybe they secretly took roids for a long time and now their levels are low, and now they need to enroll their people into a new storyline that, hey, I was hardcore, my levels dropped, I was always natural though, and now I need this thing to get back so I can feel better again, and oh yeah, good for you. So we have to be aware that most people are on this stuff for image management, all right? It's a big falsehood to say like, oh, I just want to feel better. Like, how many guys in their 20s, 30s, 40s actually don't feel good? If you actually don't feel good, get a therapist, right? Actually go into the root issues of why you don't feel good about what you see in the mirror. Like, there's way other layers. So I believe that this is just an excuse to avoid inner work, to really figure out why you're operating from insecurities and need for validation and fears and wanting to be accepted and seen and all this stuff that most men never face head on. They just say, oh, I'll take this thing and then I solve this problem and I don't have to do this work. 4, I want to see what my potential is. I get it. I totally appreciate wanting to say like, how further can I get this? I don't say this to judge, but what happens is once you cross that line, you can never say that I stayed natty. This is something that I regret. Probably one of my biggest regrets. It's kind of like, on an extreme example, and I learned this in youth group, when you only have one opportunity to remain faithful until you're married. Once you kind of blown that chance, like you can't ever give that gift to another girl. And I'm sure she'll be understanding, whatever, but like you just lose that one gift. And being natural, I think, is a gift. It's to say, I lived a drug-free lifestyle. Like that's a gift you give yourself. Now, maybe that's not a gift you care to give yourself, but if you're someone who's resonating with the idea that I never crossed this line, and that's something that means something to you, feel that and own that, because that's you being true to yourself. And that's my regret, that I always actually wanted to say I was drug-free for my entire life. And I can't say that anymore. I wish I could tell my son that, but I can't tell him that anymore. But I wanted a shortcut, right? And I wanted to skip the line and speed things up. But guess what? Once you make that decision, you can never undo that decision. Again, I'm not here to create guilt or shame, but if you're in this position where you haven't crossed that line yet, just realize you don't need to cross it. Hold your ground if this is something that's important to you. The next is that this stuff doesn't build character. And character is who you are when no one's looking. And again, I don't say this with shame or guilt or judgment. I'm sharing this from the lens of, if you want to truly see what you're made of, then put everything into developing yourself and loving what you see in the mirror without something that's not natural and that's artificial and something that's what's culturally acceptable and it's doctor approved. Like there's certain standards that you have to decide are your standards. My standards are, I don't take shit. I just don't cross that line. I don't mess with drugs. It's just not who I am. And that's what builds character. It's who you are when no one's looking. And the big lie is that, well, I'll just be honest with my audience and I'll tell them and that makes things okay. It's great that you're honest. It really is. But you still have to deal with the decision that wasn't true to who you were. The last one is the expectations to look a certain way are so out of whack with all the availability now of SARMs and peptides and steroids and orals and TRT. Like just the average dude in the gym is just way bigger and way leaner. And there's just pressure to look that way. Yet a lot of us see stuff also on social media, and we get, people who know the perfect lighting, the perfect angles. They've got, the perfect lifestyle. They've got the girl on the arm. They seem to have all this stuff that we're missing. So we just believe that it's normal for everyone to have this look, right? It's kind of like what Alex Hormozi has done with business, where he's empowered entrepreneurs so much that it's like normal to believe anyone can build a $20 to $30 million business. Well, with social media now and the rampant use of drugs, it's almost normalized in our brain that I should look this way. I should be this strong. But we don't know what's real anymore because half of the stuff that we watch is fake, where it's like the fiction channel. And then we compare, our behind the scenes with others' highlight reels that are being supplemented with stuff that we're not even utilizing. And we get this distorted picture of reality, and then we feel crappy about ourselves when they actually feel crappier about themselves because inside they haven't been true to themselves, when you actually should be the person who feels proud of themselves because you've been honest and haven't crossed certain lines. Like, you see how conflicting and confusing it can get? So I just think that now a lot of guys don't understand that they're getting disappointed because they have the wrong expectations, or expectations that are just not realistic unless you're really willing to sacrifice, your potential health and going on to a lifestyle that can lead to a whole ton of other issues. And that creates pressure that you have to manage. I don't believe men ever really needed to manage in the past to the way they have to handle it today. Hope this video got you thinking, got you feeling, got you processing, maybe waiting longer before making this decision. And I'd love to hear if there's anything that I missed. What did you resonate with in the comments below? What's your experience on this stuff? Have you been on it? and wish you didn't go on it? Are you gonna come off of it? How come? I would love to hear what you're thinking. Share with me below and we'll talk to you soon. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed yet, turn on the subscriptions, get your notifications turned on so you're notified first when I drop a new video. Hope you enjoy this. We'll talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.